Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kalachandji Radha Kalachandji Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya We can read all together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva Vyasa. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service to the personality of Godhead, raised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Born of darkest ignorance, spiritual master, open my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Make my respectful obeisances unto him. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. Today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 15th chapter, entitled King Prithu's Appearance and Coronation. So, what did we read about yesterday? You remember. Vena was killed by the Brahmanas. Okay, so Vena was the evil king, and then they churned his thighs. I doubt I will ever understand what that means, but so they churned the thighs, and Bahuka came out. Who was Bahuka? The orc race. Well, it's actually described that in the purport that he's the start of the near the Himalayas, there's like a people who live in the mountains. Yeah. So Prabhupada talks a little bit about that in the purport. And then who was Bahuka? What was his whole thing? So all of Vena's sinful activities, which must have been a lot, were personified in Bahuka. And so, as we're going to read, that's actually very important as to who comes next from King Vena's body. Now, all the sinful things are out of Vena's body, and when they churn it, a very amazing personality is going to come out. So maybe someone can read the first text. We're going to actually cover the entire chapter today. So it's maybe everyone can read 2 texts each. Nandabraj, you want to start? Pass it down.
Yes, Prabhu. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, thus the Brahmanas and the great sages again turned the 2 arms of King Veda's dead body. As a result, a male and female couple came out of his arms. The great sages were highly learned in Vedic knowledge.
Hold it a little closer.
When they saw the male and female born of the arms of Vena's body, they were very pleased, for they could understand that the couple was an expansion of the plenary portion of Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead."
Okay, so let's see. We see here, I got a little graphics so that you guys can see it. It's actually on the cover of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But we see down on the floor is Vena's dead body. And then right here is, I believe it's Bahuka, copper hair and dark skin. And so all the sages, they churned the body of Vena, and all these celestial beings are all celebrating, and Lord Brahma is there. So this person who came out was a plenary portion of Vishnu. What do we call that when someone is plenary portion? Expansion of a plenary portion. Shakyavesh. Prabhupada talks about that in the purport. All right, next text, please.
The great sages said, "The male is the plenary expansion of the power of Lord Vishnu, who maintains the entire universe, and the female is the plenary expansion of the goddess of fortune, who is never separated from the Lord. Of the 2, the male will be able to expand his reputation throughout the world. His name will be Prithu. Indeed, he will be the first among kings."
The female has such beautiful teeth and beautiful qualities that she will actually beautify the ornaments she wears. Her name will be Archi. In the future, she will accept King Prithu as her husband. In the form of King Prithu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared through a part of his potency to protect the people of the world. The goddess of fortune is the constant companion of the Lord, and therefore she has incarnated partially as Archie to become King Prithu's queen.
Hey, when we're done, we can pass it back up to Chaitanya.
The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Viduraji, at that time all the Brahmanas highly praised and glorified King Prithu, and the best singers of Gandharva Loka chanted his glories. The inhabitants of Siddhaloka showered flowers, and the beautiful women in the heavenly planets danced in ecstasy.
So that's kind of what we saw above Prithu, all the celestial beings. Next text, please.
Conch shells, bugles, drums, and kettle drums vibrated in outer space. Great sages, forefathers, and personalities from the heavenly planets all came to Earth from various planetary systems.
Lord Brahma, the master of the entire universe, arrived there, accompanied by all the demigods and their chiefs. Seeing the lines of Lord Vishnu's palm on King Prithu's right hand and impressions of the lotus flower on the soles of his feet, Lord Brahma could understand that King Prithu was a partial representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one whose palm bears the sign of a disc, as well as other such lines, should be considered a partial representation of the incarnation of the Supreme Lord.
And one more.
The learned Brahmanas, who were attached to the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies, then arranged for the king's coronation. People from all directions collected all the different paraphernalia for the ceremony, thus everything was complete.
All right. So this coronation we're about to hear about is kind of a cool section. We're hearing about everyone's gonna present Prithu Maharaj with these gifts. So it's kind of like these legendary items, stuff like that.
All the rivers, seas, hills, mountains, serpents, cows, birds, animals, heavenly plants, the earthly planet, and all other living entities collected various presentations according to their ability to offer the king. Thus, the great King Prithu, exquisitely dressed with garments and ornaments, was coronated and placed on the throne. The king and his wife Archie, who was also exquisitely ornamented, appeared exactly like fire.
The great sage continued, My dear Vidura, Kuvera presented the great King Prithu with a golden throne. The demigod Varuna presented him with an umbrella that constantly sprayed fine particles of water and was as brilliant as the moon.
It's pretty cool, right?
The demigod of air, Vayu, presented King Prithu with 2 whisks, chamaras of hair. The king of religion, Dharma, presented him with a flower garland which would expand his fame. The king of heaven, Indra, presented him with a valuable helmet, and the superintendent of death, Yamaraj, presented him with a scepter with which to rule the world.
Lord Brahma presented King Prithu with a protective garment made of spiritual knowledge. Bharati Saraswati, the wife of Brahma, gave him a transcendental necklace. Lord Vishnu presented him with a Sudarshan disc, and Lord Vishnu's wife, the goddess of fortune, gave him imperishable opulences.
Yeah, so if you guys like, you can read the purport for this later to find out what is a protective garment made of spiritual knowledge. And also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about the Sudarshan disc that was given to Prithu is not the original Sudarshan chakra that Vishnu wields, but it's expansion of the Sudarshan chakra, which is kind of cool. Like the expansion of Vishnu has an expansion of Sudarshan chakra. So, next text, please.
Lord Shiva presented him with a sword within a sheath marked with 10 moons, and his wife, the goddess Durga, presented him with a shield marked with 100 moons. The moon demigod presented him with horses made of nectar, and the demigod Vishvakarma presented him with a very beautiful chariot.
Yeah, these are all like super cool things. It's like, yeah.
The demigod of fire, Agni, presented him with a bow made of horns of goats and cows. The sun god presented him with arrows as brilliant as sunshine. The predominating deity of Bhurloka presented him with slippers full of mystic power. The demigods from outer space brought him presentations of flowers again and again.
Yeah, so these mystic slippers, they can take you anywhere you want to go. And we've seen this we've seen how modern day media copies the Vedic culture by, I'm not sure I'd want to recite it, like the mundane reference to this, but okay, in The Wizard of Oz, they also have these magic slippers where you click them 3 times and you can go anywhere. So they've got it from somewhere. There's no original ideas that Krishna hasn't already developed. Okay, Briat said Hermes also had these magic slippers.
The demigods who always travel in outer space gave King Prithu the arts to perform dramas, sing songs, play musical instruments, and disappear at his will. The great sages also offered him infallible blessings. The ocean offered him a conch shell produced from the ocean.
And can you read one more?
The seas, mountains, and rivers
Can you get a little closer?
The seas, mountains, and rivers gave him room to drive his chariot without impediments, and a Sutta, a Magadha, and a Vandi offered prayers and praises. They all presented themselves before him to perform their respective duties.
All right. And then I guess we have a little picture here. It's a kind of depiction of this scene. Maybe you guys remember some of them. Who gave the chamara here? Vayu, okay. And then who's giving him the garland for his fame? Dharma, good. And then who's giving him the arrows like brilliant as the light? Suryadev. And the conch shell? You guys remember? The ocean, okay, good. And then let's see, what else do we have? Oh, the slippers. the king of Bhurloka, right? Or something about Bhurloka. Lord Shiva. Okay, nice. Anything else? Vishnu, and he gives him Sudarshan chakra. Yeah. Pretty cool stuff, right? So we have Prithu and Archie here at the coronation. And now we're going to see, it's kind of like, I guess something practical for us ISKCON devotees to think about is like, what do we do when like people are giving us gifts, Sometimes for Vyasa Pujas, like people get like loaded up with stuff, so we can see. Yeah, we should have had a coronation for Nrsingarupa Prabhu. All right, please continue reading.
Thus, when the greatly powerful King Prithu, the son of Vina, saw the professionals before him, to congratulate them, he smiled. With the gravity of the vibrating sounds of clouds, he spoke as follows. King Prithu said, O gentle Sutta Magadha, another devotee offering prayers, the qualities of which you have spoken are not distinct within me. Why should you praise me for all these qualities when I do not shelter these features? I do not wish for these words meant for me to go in vain, but it is better that they be offered to somebody else.
O gentle reciters, offer such prayers in due course of time, when the qualities of which you have spoken actually manifest themselves in me. The gentle who offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not attribute such qualities to a human being who does not actually have them. How could an intelligent man, competent enough to possess such exalted qualities, allow his followers to praise him if he did not actually have them? Praising a man by saying that if he were educated, he might have become a great scholar or great personality is nothing but a process of cheating. A foolish person who agrees to accept such praise does not know that such words simply insult him.
Wow. So we're going to read more on this in a little bit.
As a person with a sense of honor and magnanimity does not like to hear about his abominable actions, a person who is very famous and powerful does not like to hear himself praised. King Prithu continued, My dear devotees, headed by Sutta, just now I am not very famous for my personal activities, but I have not done anything praiseworthy. You could glorify. Therefore, how could I engage you in praising my activities exactly like children?
All right, and then we'll go back to text 23. Tasmat parokshe smarupashrutan yalam Karishyata stotram apicya vacha Satyuttama shloka gunanuvade Jugupsitam nastavayanti sabya. Alright, one more time. Tasmat parokshe smarupashrutan yalam Karishyata stotram apicya vacha Satyuttama shloka gunanuvade Jugupsitam nastavayanti sabya. Please chant. Tasmat parokshe smarupashrutan yalam Ishyata stotram apicya vacha Satyuttama shloka gunanuvade Jugupsitam nastavayanti sabya. You want to try, Dustin? Kaylee? Chaitanya. Tasmat parokshe smadupashritan yalam Satyuttama apicya vacha Satyuttama shloka gunanuvade Yugupsitam Nayanti Sabya. All right. Word for word, we can all recite together. Tasmat, therefore, parokshe, in some future time, asmat, my, upashrutani, about the qualities spoken of, alam, sufficiently, karishita, you will be able to offer, stotram, prayers, apichya, racha, gentle reciters, sati, being the proper engagement, uttama shloka, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, guna, of the qualities, anuvade, discussion, jugupsitam, to an abominable person, na, never, savayanti, offer prayers, sabya, persons who are gentle. Translation, O gentle reciters, offer such prayers in due course of time, when the qualities which you have spoken actually manifest themselves in me. The gentle who offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not attribute such qualities to a human being who does not actually have them. Dustin, can you read the purport for us? Can you turn it on? Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Gentle devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead know perfectly well who is God and who is not. Non-devotee impersonalists, however, have no idea what God is and who never offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and are always interested in accepting a human being as God and offering such prayers to Him. This is the difference between a devotee and a demon. Demons manufacture their own gods, or a demon himself claims to be a god, following in the footsteps of Ravana and Hiranyakashipu. Although Prithu Maharaj was factually an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he rejected those praises because the qualities of the Supreme Person were not manifest in him. He wanted to stress that one who does not actually possess these qualities should not try to engage his followers and devotees in offering him glory for them, even though these qualities might be manifest in the future. If a man who does not factually possess the attributes of a great personality engages his followers in praising him with the expectation that such attributes will develop in the future, that sort of praise is actually an insult.
Okay, wow. So, yeah, this is kind of interesting, right? There's this whole celebration of Prithu Maharaj, and they're all glorifying him, and then he's actually saying, this is an insult. What do you guys think about that so far from the purport? Why is it insulting? Prabhupada Priya?
Well, if the person doesn't have the qualities and they're being glorified for some qualities, it's almost like, I'm just guessing here. It's almost like the people who are praising him are like, we're really hoping you're going to develop these qualities and do these wonderful activities. Like it's more like placing an expectation rather than, because if the person clearly hasn't done it, then it's.
It also reminds me of the difference between flattery and genuine praise. If you're flattering someone, you just want to make them feel good, even if it's not true. Whereas genuine praise is factual. Like, I've seen you do something and I appreciate that. But flattery is like just whatever words I need to use so that you can feel happy.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like flattery to me.
So it's technically, this is a very interesting section. The theme is kind of like, the theme of today is humility, so it's a little hard for me to speak on. Because, anyways, I'm just kidding. It's kind of, they have recognized Prithu Maharaj to be an incarnation. So it's not flattery in the sense that they're just glorifying some random person, this random human. They know that he's an incarnation of God. They know what he's going to do. And so their praise is genuine. Their praise is directed to the right source. But Prithu Maharaj, we're seeing, first of all, his humility. He's, like we read earlier, a famous person does not want to be glorified. If we don't really see that too much modern day. They're like, please glorify me. Please talk about me. I'll do anything to get you to talk about me. But back then, or at least in Prithu Maharaj's case, he doesn't want to be glorified. And then the main point of this that he's saying is that we should not attribute divine qualities to humans. Does anyone know what that's called, like technically, when you make something mundane divine? Huh? Sahaja, yeah. I guess in a more Western term that we hear often. Anthropomorphism. Idol worship. That was the main thing I was looking for. Is Prithu Maharaj, he's warning us against idol worship and making people who aren't divine or things like that. We see this a lot in India. I'm sure you've all have heard this Krishna Maharaj lecture before, gods, demigods, incarnations. Or I'm not sure, but everyone in Dallas talks about that sometimes. So these people, they propose their ideas of who is God. Okay, Sai Baba's God. And then, what did Sai Baba do? And then, Sai Baba, he created ashes. And he says, I can just burn some wood and I'll have ashes in my hand. What is the point? Or, he cured cancer. Doctors cure cancer. And so, where is this divinity that you're talking about? So Prithu Maharaj, he's setting the example for the future that we shouldn't accept incarnations that aren't actively manifesting godly qualities. So even though he is an incarnation, Prabhupada speaks on in the purport that because it's his coronation, he's not currently manifesting these activities, he's not currently manifesting these opulences, and so in that sense it's kind of inappropriate to glorify him in that sense. I'm wondering if you guys have any thoughts on like what we as not incarnations or what we as sadhakas can learn from this example of Prithu Maharaj. Because often devotees, they love to glorify other devotees, and especially if you're newer or you're younger, they're like, oh, keep going, good job, you're effulgent today, or like, oh, you chant so nicely, but like I'm like not chanting nicely. But Brihat, any thoughts?
I'm thinking, if someone says something about you that's way beyond your identity, then it can be really uncomfortable or just so out of alignment that it's just almost painful to hear. I'm trying to think of like someone who's a brand new practitioner of bhakti, and you say like, you are a powerful leader and you're changing the lives of so many people. And they're just like, what do you mean? I'm just like trying to learn about this thing.
Yeah.
And it can make them feel really uncomfortable. Whereas, on the other hand, someone who knows me very well, like my spiritual master, I feel this way, that throughout my experience, he'll say things about me that are beyond, he believes that I can do things beyond what I can believe, and then I see that I can rise to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that it's coming from a place where he really cares, and he has the vision to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas someone else might just be doing it from a place of flattery.
Nice example, nice personal way. Anyone else have any thoughts on kind of how this applies to us? Because we shouldn't really, when devotees praise us, say, oh, this is insulting. I have not manifested these qualities yet, Prabhu. This is insulting. Do you guys have any other thoughts on how this relates to us specifically?
I was just thinking that we should be realistic about, when we should glorify and appreciate devotees, but we should, actually see what they did or some quality that actually is apparent, and then, glorify them for that, or the actual achievement, and that'll encourage them to keep doing that good thing or keep developing that good quality. And then they'll appreciate that we actually understand them, that we actually are paying attention, rather than just saying some random thing that we hope will develop in the future, but it's not there and makes us uncomfortable.
Thank you. Did you have something, Priya?
Yeah, we did this exercise in Orlando. There was a small group of us trying to start a Krishna house. And to try to build the family mood, every day after breakfast, we would do a glorification or like a praise activity. And the devotee who told me about it, Deva Madhava Prabhu, he said, you should be as specific as possible with your praise. Because anyone can say, oh, you're such a nice devotee, you're a good person, but it doesn't mean much. But when you say, yesterday I saw that you walked across the entire lawn to go grab a piece of trash and throw it away, I really appreciate that. So when it's specific, it can touch our heart more than just some general empty words.
Jai. I was thinking, we're kind of talking on this point of we should glorify kind of to the extent that it's factual. We shouldn't over-glorify or flatter or things like that. And it just made me think of the glorifications we hear every day in Guru Vashtakam and Guru Vandana, the Mangalarti prayers and the Guru Puja prayers, and how these glorifications by the Vaishnava Acharyas, they're not exaggerating anything in them. They know this principle of, not to flatter, not to overdo it. And so I guess we can have that perspective when we read these, that these are not exaggerations of Srila Prabhupada's qualities, exaggerations of the Guru's qualities, but they are an ocean of mercy. They are the friend of the poor. They are the Lord and Master of devotees. And we shouldn't take it cheaply. I guess that's kind of one of the offenses to the holy name, is to consider the descriptions of the glories of the holy name to be exaggeration. Yeah, so it's almost 8:15. That's kind of all I had for today on this topic. But maybe we can open up for any more discussion points, questions, things we'd like to talk about.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. This is a really nice topic. The glorification of devotees is, I feel, really important. Also, something we can see here needs to be taken with a lot of caution. Something I learned being in the Gurukul is that children, like we are, I guess, need this encouragement and support when we're doing something positive. We need encouragement to know that this is where we need to keep doing this activity. Though on the other side, I guess there's a certain role certain people play, so it's not for everybody. But if we have a really close friend or we really care about someone, we also have to be there for them in a way that's like, if they're doing something that's not so good, we have to not glorify, like we should also kind of encourage them and show them how to, not continue a negative behavior pattern. So that's something that I find I really appreciate those who can come to me and not always flatter, and just they'll tell me, hey, you can do this better, or you shouldn't have done like that. But we don't really do this a lot with devotees because we don't want to offend, but I think it could be really helpful if it's done in the proper mood and with the right, I guess, line of authority or something. I just wanted to say that.
Really nice point.
Just want to add to what Kaylee was nicely pointing out. I'm seeing these levels, at least in my experience, that the easiest is just empty praise. Just some words I throw at someone just so it sounds nice and they feel good and they like me. And then a little harder is sincere praise, that I've actually turned on my intelligence. I'm saying it with a feeling because I care about you. And then the hardest is what Kaylee is saying for me, is going to someone because I care so much. I'm okay if you don't even like me because I say this. I'm willing to sacrifice my own false ego of being liked by you because I care so much about you. Like Vidura, who came and spoke to Dhritarashtra so strongly because he loved him. But it depends on the relationship, of course.
nice points. Prabhupada Priya. Uh-oh.
I have a question. I was thinking that, in Shikshastika it says, amanina manadena, that we should be always ready to offer respect to others, but not eager to receive respect for ourselves. But then, like Kaylee was saying, that a lot of us do need appreciation to keep going. We can't just go doing service and this and that and sacrificing ourselves and not getting any appreciation for it. Like a lot of people, they really need to be appreciated to be inspired to keep going. So what's the balance between not being eager to be respected and appreciated and getting the appreciation that we need to be inspired in our service?
It's a really good question. I guess my first thought, and I'd like to hear what everyone else has to say, but my first thought is that verse, it says, tolerant than a tree, more humble than the blade of grass. So what happens when you step on grass? It just stays down. It doesn't pop back up. It doesn't start attacking you, When you step on grass, it just stays down. Or when you start getting a chainsaw to a tree, the tree doesn't start throwing apples at you or anything. It's the tree just sits there and takes it. So this is actually a very high level of realization, a very high level of God consciousness that I'd say most of us, or at least myself, I'm very far from being able to just, take it and take it and take it and take it and just still keep going. So I think we have to be practical with our emotional health in a sense that, even in spiritual communities, there can be emotionally abusive environments that we should avoid in order to keep our Krishna conscious practice prolonged. I'd like to hear what you guys also have to say on this point that we have we have a need to be validated in order to keep going. Kaylee, and then maybe Tulsi.
Hare Krishna, thank you. This is a beautiful question, Prabhupada Priya. I really like the response that you said too. But I was thinking also that when someone is really humble, they can recognize that we're only able to do this action because of someone else, like a guru or an advanced devotee or Srila Prabhupada or Krishna himself. So I find that people, when they do receive praise and glory and they just send it upwards, like, oh, I'm in this position because of this person, I feel that's a proper way to accept it and feel encouraged, like, oh, I'm actually following. I feel this praise is very helpful, especially for people in the beginning when we might not know if what we're doing is aligned with Krishna or Srila Prabhupada's mission. So we need encouragement. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm on the right path. But then, I think always sending it, acknowledging and realizing that this is because of someone else's mercy I'm able to do this.
Thank you. Brihat?
Yeah, I was thinking that the verse says that we shouldn't expect respect, but it doesn't mean that we don't need it. So at my level of Krishna consciousness, I do need a certain amount of respect. And if I don't get it, it's disturbing. And it can be so disturbing that I can fall away. And I was thinking, again, it comes back to relationships, that I need to get that respect from people I know care about me. Because if I get cheap respect from people who don't care about me, it's an exploitive relationship. They're praising me, they're giving me respect so that they can take something from me. Like if one is a leader, maybe people will praise you because then when you go to correct them, you won't do it because you don't want to lose that praise from them. You don't want to lose that relationship of respect. So if you're feeling that need for respect based on cheap praise from people who are exploiting you, then you won't be able to uphold principles. Whereas if you're getting it from people who genuinely care from you, then even if you have to correct someone and they won't like you, then you can do it because you're getting nourished by someone who genuinely cares about you and respects you from a place of love.
Thank you. Really nice points. Tulsi? Sorry, I just called on you, but I can tell you have good ideas.
Thank you for all these wonderful comments. And what I was thinking about is sometimes it's not very easy to verbally express our appreciation and gratitude, but then we can also express in our actions, we can also experience the appreciation of others, maybe not through words, but in their actions. So that is also another aspect of appreciating.
Yeah. Thank you. I kind of had this thought that in like a healthy Vaishnava community, or like a loving community, you will kind of automatically get that encouragement and stuff like that. But eventually we have to get to this point where we're just so secure in that Krishna loves me, Krishna appreciates what I'm doing, Krishna cares about my service, even if no one else sees it, even if I'm mopping the whole community hall and not a single soul had seen it, at least Krishna sees it, at least my spiritual master sees it. And that's enough for me. That's enough for me to keep going. And if we just cultivate that, we'll feel reciprocation from Krishna that, yes, it's nice in the beginning to get this validation, but really the only people's opinion who matters are the Vaishnavas and Krishna himself. The other day, someone kind of hurt my feelings, but I was just like, as long as Krishna appreciates what I'm doing, then, that's all that matters. As long as my spiritual master appreciates, as long as the devotees appreciate what I'm doing. Yeah, thank you. Any other, Prabhupada Priya?
I'm just going to keep going if no one else has thoughts to share, because I'm getting a lot of insights from your class, Prabhu. Thank you.
I didn't really have any points. I just opened it up for discussion. You guys are churning the nectar just like the arms of King Vena.
So the word respect, from the Latin root spect, is like spectacles, to see. So to see again. And actually we can respect everyone if we look again with knowledge. We actually see. And that's why someone like Lord Shiva is able to respect even someone and glorify them, even if they have no good qualities, because he can see that they're a spirit soul and he can see that they have the potential for so much. So it's interesting that someone like Lord Shiva, he could praise even a person with no good qualities and be glorified for it because he has that vision. So perhaps these, the Magadha Sutta here, maybe they don't have that same level that Lord Shiva does, where they're able to actually see what someone will manifest in the future or what they potentially could. Those are a few thoughts.
Yeah. Interesting. Maji, you had a point?
I just had a small question. It's like sometimes you're doing a service for so long. I think at some point of time, if you feel that you need validation for that service from from your seniors or from the community or something, at a personal level, is it a good feeling that you feel, oh, I need to be validated? Because you said, right, at least Krishna is seeing, and that's the purpose, like why services have to be done, right? How to overcome this, that, where you hanker for that validation?
I guess my first thought is that Krishna often works through his devotees. So if you want validation from Krishna, most of the time actually it'll come through the devotees or come through your spiritual master. But maybe you guys have other thoughts? Singha Prabhu?
I apologize. I was on there was a radio interview for Festival of Joy, so I just got into the class, so I missed the pre discussion. But this is a wonderful conversation to step into. I think, we talk about the 6 loving exchanges between devotees, right? And I feel in a sense that it's a way to develop relationships. And with everything we do, it really, I think, comes back to the intention behind what we're doing, right? Am I doing this service so I will be praised? Is that what I'm looking for? And then am I maybe praising devotees or appreciating their service because I want them to like me, or am I doing it because it's all centered around Krishna, right? And we're trying to serve Krishna, and then that reciprocation can be so wonderful and encouraging, right? That we're personal beings, and we're looking for that interaction and encouragement and inspiration being together. Just like when we're in the temple room, we're with Krishna and we're doing kirtan, and we could do it with one person by ourselves, but when we're all together doing that, we feel that we're that much more inspired and encouraged in our service. So in the same way, when we're serving together and someone says, Prabhu, so nice to see you. Thank you for sweeping the floor. It's just this nice personal way to relate with each other, I think. And it's not that, and ideally we're not doing the service looking for that validation and that appreciation. But at the same time, it's wonderful to appreciate the devotees and to encourage them and their, whatever service they're doing. We're all doing our best, I think. And so we have our good days and our bad, and you never know when those words of encouragement may help a devotee that's having a bad day or struggling.
Yeah, I think this is definitely your alley, Singharupa Brew. I know if someone makes pancakes on Saturday, we're going to hear their glorification maybe like 7 or 8 times. Or, whenever you catch someone doing something good, you're like, glorification bomb. And yeah, on the WhatsApp too. Yeah.
There are many devotees that have done this to me for over 40 years. So if there's any drop of that, it's because I've been trained up despite my lack of ability by some wonderful Vaishnavas. Causeless mercy, in my opinion. Thank you.
Any final thoughts or things anyone would like to share? No, thank you all for discussing nicely and being here. Yeah, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prithu Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Breakfast prasadam ki jai.